Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode in season 2 of League Prediction Show. This show is brought to you by Prize Picks. And if you're not familiar with the show, this is a show where we, the lovely lineup of folks, give our predictions for lineups that you can play, predictions for how games are going to go. We talk about some of the analysis of why we came to this. So, talking through the different matches that are taking place. And this is episode 2. So we're going to also start off the show by reflecting on some of the matches that we played earlier this week and how maybe some crazy upsets in First Stand have thrown everybody for a loop. So we're going to see how things went. First off, we got Cubby here. Cubby, how's it going?
Doing well. Rooting for TL tonight.
Elias is here. Elias, how you doing?
Doing well. I'm enjoying First Stand a lot so far. It's more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Croissant, how about yourself?
I'm doing great despite some poor financial choices in recent times.
You look very edgy on today's episode, so I don't.
It's
I'm
not
very
bad hair day, so I'm doing the hoodie. That's all.
The market's
hair
been
day?
killing me. You know, I need Prize Picks to step up.
Every lost week, Chris's desk gets moved closer to the door until he's kicked out entirely.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's
yeah.
gotta.
Okay,
gather
so
some dubs.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through last episode's predictions and lineups and see how everyone did, and then after that we're going to talk a little bit about how this all works if you haven't seen it before, and then we're gonna make some predictions for some more First Stand stuff. So, Cubby, we're gonna go around the line. You're first. What was your lineup going into? I guess it was on Sunday night, Monday morning, however you want to say it.
Yeah, so we had the Monday games or the Tuesday games to choose from.
Mhm.
My lineup that I went with, I had Delight having more than 22.5 assists in their first two games versus Top Esports, and Core JJ having more than 19 assists in their first two games against K Corp.
And how did that go?
Went really well for Delight. Core TL got destroyed map 2, so unfortunately I missed the Core JJ square.
All right. So unfortunately, Cubby, if I have this one, not that one. Where is it? Not this one. Okay, we're just gonna move this one over. Cubby,
I've been doing well. I should have submitted another official pick.
unfortunately, you only get one official pick. So
I know. Yeah.
that is unfortunate. But best of luck on the next one. How about you, Elias? How'd you do?
I did well. I went all in on the square that presented Jackie Love dying versus Hanwha Life. And I believed that would get a higher amount of kills, and their square was 3.5. The squared came in a lot closer than I anticipated. But
Jackie Love one went crazy.
Jackie Love that felt like a sure thing.
You said more than 5 deaths. He got 9. So that ended up being a win. Congratulations, Elias. Elias, you also had, for those that don't know, and maybe this is a good time to mention it, whenever you are watching the games, you can only really play the squares or lineups for the minimum amount of games. So if it's a best of 3, you play squares lineups based off of the first 2 games. However, if a third game presents itself, or in a best of 5, if you have a fourth game or whatever, they actually really quickly populate a bunch of different squares on the site for you, so that you could do something within the 15 minutes between games. And Elias, I know just for funsies, you and I were both up that night, and
we were,
and you had a lineup that you submitted for that, right?
Yeah, I admittedly with far less confidence, but this was pure LTA fandom, and what I could see that Kalist didn't seem like they were on their game, so I took the square that put them at 5.5 kills and put that significantly down. Felt like he was back to form, and I felt good about more kills for his square. And Yawn, I was all in on. Yawn felt like he was in form. He was ready to pop off, and we were lucky enough to get that Lucian game. So That ended up working out great.
It did, yeah. So I think this was, yeah, I've got it up on screen right now, and you ended up winning this last minute one, right?
Yes, I did. That ended up penning out in my favor.
That's awesome. So I don't normally, whenever I'm gonna maybe play, I follow somebody else's lead, especially anytime it's a match that I am covering in some capacity, because I sometimes worry about that. But that night, I decided to throw in one myself. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I should have had this pulled up beforehand. But I ended up winning as well, and I believe that was Umpty at more than 1.5, which is what you took, and then Vladdy at less than 3.5 kills in game 3. He got 0 kills, so I ended up winning that last minute one as well. When we have those conversations, oftentimes they're in the Prize Picks chat, folks. So if you are around the Prize Picks Discord, in my Discord, which is discord.gg/Travis, we've had some more people join recently, and some very nice folks who have been sort of helping people as they're getting into Prize Picks and trying to share their picks and all that stuff. So if you are interested in joining, you can do that. All right, so we talked about Elias, we talked about Cubby. How about you, Croissant?
Yeah, I think I'm also going to be joining the Prize Picks channel, but not as a prophet or authority, but to get advice from people. So I went for, let me see. I had Vladdy as getting more than 7.5 kills and APA as getting less than 7 kills. And let me just double check exactly what it looked like.
I don't believe it looked like a win, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it was Vladdy was at 6, but APA actually only had 5 kills in the first 2 games, which was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
I think because let's see, it was mainly a. I think he in the second game on ASOL he like ended 0-1 or something, and then in the first game he had like a lot of assists. But yeah, and obviously the first 2 days were pretty bad for KC overall. But they bounced back with TES, so we can talk about that later. But that's not related to my failure.
It's been an interesting thing for us to try to predict, because some of these games have gone not to people's expectations, which I think makes it really difficult for certain things to pan out. But I've still seen a lot of people who've been doing really well. So let's see. So where are we? Let's talk a little bit about how Prize Picks works. So this is how this went down. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a video that we have that explains a little bit how it works if you haven't played Prize Picks before. So we'll pull it up right now.
This video is brought to you by Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching your favorite esports or sports. So I'm going to show you right now how this works on the app. It's super easy to use. So maybe I like Jojo Pyun at more than 9.5 deaths over the first 3 games of his series. And maybe I believe Mikyx is going to get less than 31 assists. I'll go ahead and hit finalize lineup, where it'll show me that if both these things end up coming true and I play an entry fee of, let's say, $20, I'm going to end up winning $60. Prize Picks is available in over 40 states, including California and Texas. And if you sign up, use that link below. It's a big thing that you can do to help me. You can use code Travis whenever you make your first lineup of $5 or more. Win or lose, they're going to give you $50. Now, please only choose to play Prize Picks if you can do so responsibly, but doing so and signing up does help my channel very much. And you can actually join the discussion with other TGI viewers in my Discord. We have a Prize Picks channel. If you're trying to get into it, that's a great place to start. So thanks so much to Prize Picks for sponsoring this piece of content.
And we're back. Thanks so much, Travis, for explaining how you can sign up and how this all works. But yeah, there's a link in the chat right now if you want to use it. And if you're watching on the YouTube VOD, you can always click the link below and use code Travis for that. All right. So, my lovely friends, what have you cooked for us this episode? We're going to go ahead and start with Croissant. Croissant, I know you've been having a tough time, but I believe you can get back into it. What do you got for us tonight?
Honestly, don't have anything too special, but I am working on on a theory that will be revealed next episode.
Okay.
But I'm currently staying strong with my strategy of picking two relatively uninteresting picks and then hoping I break even, which works 75% of the time, and then I lose money the rest of the time. I did want your guys' help though, because last time I was told that, like for example, APA versus Vladdy, right? That for some reason that's probabilistically less of a just not advised because you're expecting to. I just don't understand why that would be the case versus picking like. Is it that I'm supposed to be picking from two different games, or is it that I'm supposed to be picking from just not the same role?
I think it was the same role because like you're picking two sides of the same matchup.
But what makes that what makes that worse? What makes that a bad idea?
Listen, we're not experts here. Hard to say.
I mean, if you thought it was gonna win, you thought it was gonna win.
We have Adam who does this professionally, who's in the chat, who will be able to talk about it. But I do think part of it is you maybe get a lower payout, so maybe that's part of it as well. Because I know that in those types of situations, they offer like a lower win number, so that might be part of it. But
okay, so well, I have this one at. I think Zeus is the best player at the tournament at the moment, and I think that he's consistently shut down the effect that the enemy top laner has been able to have. So I think he does play in a way, and obviously like maybe they keep on experimenting. They picked Vladimir Zed, which is a top mid pairing that I've never seen in my entire life, not even in scrims. And so I would say, there's a chance that Impact maybe gets a couple of kills, especially if they make it a priority to like shut that down. But if they continue leaving Impact on an island, going down 20, 30 CS, or even if they try to pressure Zeus, I think Zeus will ultimately make it so that Impact will not be able to get more than 12 assists in the first two maps. So I have that as less for Impact. And then I have
Impact. Okay, so you started with Zeus, but I guess you were saying he's got to play against
specifically for the HLE TL match.
So sorry, you've got one more time on Impact. You've got which stat?
Less than 12.
Less than 12 assists. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, versus CFO?
HLE. Yeah.
I see the. Oh, I see. But I see the Impact squares at less than 8.5. Did you
is that for CFO? Square? Oh, wait. Huh. Oh, okay. Looks like I clicked the CFO one, but I will still take the less than 8.5 for the HLE.
Okay. Yeah. So Impact at less than 8.5 versus HLE.
Mm-hmm. And then APA I have as in that same matchup less than 5 kills. Because I think Zeka is right up there, and that he's just going to style on APA.
Gotcha. And worth noting that this is sort of where maybe some of the stuff comes into play. Is like this is a bit of a lower payout because it's from the same game. So
will it not? It's someone saying in the chat that I can't submit this lineup. Is it because it's less assists and less kills? I thought it was just.
I believe it's because you have to choose. You can't choose two players from the same game in the same.
Oh, it's two of the same player you cannot choose. Yeah.
Two players from the same team.
Okay. Get back to me. I will choose a third square, but that's just my broad overview right now. And yeah.
Okay. Well, we will get back to you. Elias, how about yourself?
So funny enough, but as we were running into the show, Cubme submitted a lineup that I was actually going to run for the episode, but that's fine. I was working with a couple of different players. This one I have. That's all to say. This one I could totally see the arguments that this is silly, but first off, I want to say that like CFO's play has been better than I expected. It was one of the first things I went to go watch for the nights I didn't stay up to watch the games. because I'm just genuinely curious if Casey was that bad, especially going into CFO versus TL. So that led me to Doggo, their bot laner, and their game versus TL. I think Doggo's been playing pretty well. I'm not going to let the Zed Vladimir game versus HLE color it too much. But Doggo is willing to go in, pick up a couple kills, even a loss. I think CFO versus TL is going to be way, way closer. And as a result, I think Doggo can absolutely go over 7.5 kills. So that's going to be my first one. And then over on the TL side versus HLE, I anticipate that being a pretty dramatic stomp. I think...
for Team Liquid, you think Team Liquid's going to stomp
yes,
HLE?
Obviously.
Yeah,
however, in the obvious stomp that Team Liquid will beat HLE, I do think they're going to put Umti on engaged junglers, the Maokais, maybe a Skarner. I don't know what HLE is cooking up, but to be honest, I don't know if it'll matter that much. And I do think Umti's going to go in and he's going to die. So that square is 7.5 deaths. That is on the higher side, but I do think that that's going to be like a pretty clean 2-0, and Umti's going to like fight tooth and nail to try to get the games back when they will inevitably fall behind. And that's going to look bad in the scoreline, but I think that's the way you have to play if you want to somehow upset HLE. So that's what I have.
So you have Umpty at over 7.5 deaths, and you have Doggo at over 7.5 kills, and Umpty specifically versus HLE, and Doggo specifically against TL.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see how that ends up going. Cubby, how about yourself? What do you got?
I'll keep this kind of quick. I have APA over or more than 4.5 deaths in their match against CFO. I think that APA, the way he's been playing, win or lose, he's dying. So yeah. And then I have Junjia, also more than 6 deaths in the first 2 maps. I know that the Flying Oysters have played better than what a lot of people thought going into this, but after going through the tape, I still feel pretty confident that TL is going to beat them. I think TL is like also playing decent. The K-Corp series, I just couldn't explain like what they were doing against the Flying Oysters. And then they beat Top Esports. So what a tournament from them.
Yeah, so well, that's the question. Is like, was beating K-Corp actually an accomplishment? And after this Flying Oysters game, you might be like, oh, it wasn't. But then against the Top Esports thing, I don't know. I don't know anymore. So
K-Corp played so terribly against the Flying Oysters. Like they had bad drafts, they had bad play. They were grouping for like a split push comp. They didn't know what to do with the comp they had. It was like actually brutal. I don't think that CFO played poorly, but in one game you have Rumble Skarner, and in another game you're going up against like a comp that cannot catch a Scion or a Sejuani, and you have your Scion one trick playing. So I just don't think that scenario is going to happen against TL, and I have faith that Yawn runs Doggo. So yeah, I think TL actually 2-0s.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Croissant. Croissant, how are things looking on your end?
I had another quick question for you guys. How does it work? Because CFO's played 2 different top laners in both of their series. So if you try to pick a top laner square, does it just fizzle out if they don't
So
play?
yeah, if the top laner doesn't play, then it does a DNP, which is did not play, and I believe it fizzles the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what, and Adam's confirming that in the chat. You
All right. Okay. I mean, that's still good. Because then, wait, does it fizzle the whole thing or just that individuals?
You get the whole lineup gets refunded.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, which we would count as an L on this show for purposes.
Croissant. Come on, that's rigged. That can't be an L. That's just a logistical error. Yeah, no, I'm gonna put Well, I just want to talk really quickly about the games and like why they transpired the way that they did, which is just to say that I obviously was very high on K Corp. I thought that their match against TFO was very much a product of like the lower end of their variants. They like probably it seemed like they put a disproportionate amount of preparation into their TL series, and then still had like nerves and like whatever put them into that. Or they were clearly shaken after their TL series going into their CFO series, and their comp and their game plan was really terrible. And then the inverse for Top Esports versus K Corp, like I have almost never seen a team first pick Kalista and then not ban Talia on 4-5, and then the enemy still gets Talia on 4-5, and they have a losing. Yeah, it was pretty tough all around. And then their second game was just even like the Corki Karthus on 2-3 is just demonic, and then the Xin Zhao ban on 4-5. But so yeah, I thought there's just like we saw the lower end of K Corp, and then we also saw the higher end. And on a good day for them and a bad day for TS, I think they beat TS, so I thought that was cool. But let's see. Okay, this final square, I will just have Doggo at less than 8.5.
Less than 8.5. Okay. Isn't this at odds with Elias? Was it you that said Doggo at more than 8.5? Oh no, that was a different game. That's a TL match, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Doggo at less than 8.5 kill or 8.5 assists versus Top Esports, you're saying, Croissant.
Yes.
Okay, and then remind me what your other ones were. They were APA
less than 5 kills, Impact less than 8.5 assists, both against HLE.
All right. So we have, and are you doing flex play or power play on this? My understanding is I've heard rumors that it is usually almost always better to go power play if you are doing this over.
I'm a real man, so I'll power play.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Doggo less than 8.5 assists, APA less than 5 kills, Impact less than 8.5 assists. Very good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've been bringing in callers to the show to give sort of like a community submitted lineup. And we've got Trespasser, who I'm going to pull in right now. Hopefully their microphone is working fine. Trespasser, welcome to the show. What do you got for us in terms of a line? Well, first off, do you have any opinions on anybody else's lineups that you've heard if you've been watching? Let's start with that.
I think I have a similar lineup to somebody. I wasn't sure who, but it's the Doggo bot versus TL. 7.5 kills for that one.
I think that was Elias.
Yep.
Yeah. Elias, what did you have? You had
I took the over on 7.5 kills for Doggo, and then deaths was the other part of that one.
For that one, I think Doggo was gonna have less under 7.5 kills. Yeah.
Okay.
So you took the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have Doggo at less than did you say less than 7.5?
Correct.
Okay.
And in your mind, TL is 2-0ing, I imagine?
Yeah. I'm hoping. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then for TL versus CO, also have Jan going ham with over 9.5 kills.
You have what's that? One more time.
Jan getting more than 9.5 kills.
Jan getting more than 9.5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Doggo less than 7.5 kills. Jan at more than 9.5 kills. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Why the confidence in Jan?
Honestly, I was a Jan hater like for a long time, but I think I've come around. He's shown himself. I'm like, okay, he's good. And I think CFO is just like a whatever team. I think Team Liquid, if they're good, they should just clear them like easy.
Very good. Anybody else want to reflect on Trespassers' take here? Do you guys would you tail this? I mean, obviously, at least you disagree with one of the squares, but anybody else interested in tailing this? Sounds like there's not a lot of confidence from the panel.
Probably not.
Why is that, Cubby?
I don't have a lot of faith in CFO. I also don't know if it's gonna be that bloody in Yon's favor.
So you think it might they just might roll over? There might not be enough kills on those two games. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, TL does definitely play for kills, like play for blood.
Yeah.
So, I guess the Yon square is like more likely for me. But I think that Yon douses Doggo, so I don't think Doggo gets enough.
Well, this will be an exciting Trespasser because the panel here disagrees with your take. So if you ending up correct, then you get to do a little victory lap in the Twitch chat.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I just don't tail because I like to trailblaze my own path. But
gotcha.
No disrespect to you, Trespasser. You're my goat.
So you agree with their take even if you're not following it? Croissant. Sounds like you agree with it.
I think Yon is better than Doggo.
I think that's not how you play this game. I think it's supposed to be you're making specific predictions around specific stats.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I also have 3 more picks. Is that allowed? Or
you have what?
I have 3 more lineups.
Sure. Why don't you just give us, just for fun, why don't you give me one more really interesting one?
Interesting?
Yeah. Do you have like any that have a bunch of different squares on them?
I have Rest, Junjia, and Hong Q for CFO versus TS. 11.5 kills down. I just think they're getting it stomped by TS. Like I don't think anyone's gonna like disagree with that.
Sorry, is this one more time? Can you repeat it?
The Rest, Junjia, and Hong Q, top jungle mid.
Oh, this is the combo. Rest, Junjia, and Hong Q. Okay. Mm-hmm. At more than 16 or less?
Less than 11.5.
This is verse. Oh, okay. Verse top. Okay. Yeah, them at less than an 11.5. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then what else?
And then this is like similar to like I think last week it was like someone said Viper is a really consistent AD carry. He doesn't really die much, so Viper less than 2.5 deaths versus KC.
Okay. Versus TL, you mean?
I mean, no, versus KC or HLE versus KC.
Viper less than 2.5 deaths. So I see a Viper versus TL 2.5 deaths.
I put it down. Maybe it got taken out. Maybe it was just too good.
Yeah, maybe. It's sometimes disperse. So.
Yeah, and then Zeus, more than 14.5 assists in the Gamers KC.
More than 14.5 assists. Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm super interested.
I put all that in a 5-pick power play. Yeah,
and a 5-pick player. I would be so nervous to take any KC squares right now because I feel like you just have no idea what you're gonna get. Like KC, I feel like is super spooky to me because who knows what's gonna happen? Are they just gonna get rolled? Or are they gonna upset? It's just kind of crazy. So, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks so much, Trespasser, for the call, and we'll see you on the next episode potentially if you want to show up in the chat and gloat about how you were correct.
Yeah. All right. Shout out my goat Croissant, and yeah, take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks. See y'all.
Take care.
Yeah. All right, that is the show. Any other interesting things that you all want to say about First Stand? I think, Elias, I know you said you've been really enjoying it, but anybody else enjoying it? Or Elias, you want to expand on why it's been so fun for you?
I just like it because I thought the parity between the teams was going to be way more dramatic. I really did think it was going to be like HLE and Top just running the show. And like, is the Top Esports loss to KC like reflective of their power rankings? No, I think they had some happy drafts. But it makes things way more interesting. And then like for as far as Pacific teams are concerned, that's the CFO region now, right? Pacific. Either
Yes,
way,
LCP.
I love watching um, teams from that region like succeed. It's always really exciting. They're always bloody. It makes me really excited for CFO Top Esports. I think it is warranted to not have as much faith in them, but I want to believe that they will continue to be bloody.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited to see how things develop. Croissant, have you been enjoying it?
I have, even though I've only caught like well, yeah. Yesterday I slept really late, so I even caught the beginning of game 1 of Top versus KC, and I saw the 4-0 skirmish in Bot River by KC, and I was like, that's raps. This shit looks good. But yeah, I think I was excited, and then I was a little bit deflated by how the initial matches went, and then now it's like a little bit. I like seeing parity. I also prefer if North America wins against Europe, but I also like seeing Europe take it to certain teams, and I think there's always. It's cool that there's only a couple days left in the tournament, and that there's I think when it's hard to say whether that gives more opportunity for teams to come back or whether like a week break in the past would make it more likely for there to be certain upsets. But the angle I will say that makes it possible for HLE to not be just like the 90-10 like winner of the tournament is that they're showing outside of the Zed Vladimir stuff, they have shown their cards. I think it's unreal how consistently they've gotten certain god comps that people are giving them in place of like A tier champs that they are good at and comfortable on, but like you can't be giving Vi Rumble Yone, you can't be giving like those like Skarner Azir. And so we've seen teams as dominant as HLE right now in the past in MSI, like IG was 10-0 or 9-1, and collapse later. I don't think it's as likely because they're like in their home court. They are much more stable, like as an identity. But yeah, I still am holding out hope that there's a team that will contend against them, and it's not that far out there. And even if they don't, it's not like it was like a week-long tournament. Like LCK got to stamp their dominance on the world. So yeah. I like it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for doing the show. Thanks everyone for watching. We will not, unfortunately, because I'm traveling, we will not get a chance to do another one of these ones for First Stand, but we'll probably do one whenever we're getting back into the season again. And when we do, we will have to reflect on how we did in this episode to sort of track how everybody's doing. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.